Will City win the treble? And can West Ham really prove they are massive?
Evening, Tate.
Evening, Jack. How are we?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Oh, better than I was on Friday.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll cover it. But yeah, you had a tough Friday. Friday morning.
Friday morning at 6 a.m. getting the bad news that my passport was out of date.
Yeah,
but onwards and upwards, as they say. And we're here today to speak about the European final preview. And tonight we are joined by a special guest, fan of the show, Andy Houghton.
Hey chaps, thanks for having me on.
No worries, thanks for coming.
No worries, my pleasure. I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very good.
Yeah, long time no see.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute. It's been like it's been a fair few years, but it's good to see you chaps.
No, we decided to get Andy on this week because he is a die-hard West Ham fan, and West Ham are going to be in their first European final on Wednesday for.
Yep.
How many years is it? I've got the stat down here somewhere. No, it's their first cup final since 2006, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, since the FA Cup final. We won't talk about that. Gerrard screwing us over.
I think it's 47 years that European final. So pretty much someone's whole life. Yeah, a lifetime of supporting West Ham without getting to a European final.
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
this is my first ever European final. I'm absolutely
and probably the biggest game since that FA Cup final. So. Yeah. Huge week, or it's been a
massive week.
Yeah, some say a massive week for West Ham, but yeah.
Well, and then so the show will be the Europa League Conference in part 1 preview, and then we'll go on to the Champions League final, which is on Saturday in part 2. Right, we'll start off with some quick fire questions for Andy, so you listeners can get to know him a bit. So it's a nice easy one, Andy. Start with full name.
Andrew Paul Houghton.
And your age?
29.
Occupation you do?
I'm an IT consultant.
And your team you support? I know we mentioned West Ham, but obviously...
Yeah, West Ham obviously is the team I've been supporting since I've grown up from my dad. But most recently I've been getting into Ipswich a little bit. My partner's dad's getting into Ipswich, so I've been quite a few League One games this season.
Good timing for the town going up as well.
Yeah, no.
You were there, weren't you, for the promotion?
Yes. I was sending you loads of videos, and that was unbelievable. We were at the right end as well, so we saw like 5 goals in the first half. It was absolute madness, to be fair. But Jordan was quite happy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see how they get on next year in the Championship.
I think they'll do well, actually. I think they've got some good players. The manager's really good. I think he's actually someone 5 years' time. I think he'll be probably either high prem or he's a very, very good manager.
Yeah, you're going to try and go again next year?
Yeah, funny enough, I've actually got a season ticket.
Oh, you do?
Year.
Oh.
Yeah. So my partner's dad, his company actually sponsors one of the players. He's been a die-hard Ipswich fan for 35, 40 years. So he got quite good deals on season tickets. So I thought for next season, the Championship is stacked next season. It's got some big teams. So I think next season would be a good way to go and see it.
Perfect. Your favourite ever West Ham player?
Favourite ever West Ham player? Tevez was an absolute legend back in the day. I'm thinking also from when I've seen him on videos, there was a really old player called Alan Devonshire who was like in the 80s. He was a really, really top class player. Like a lot of the kind of modern day players are based on him. But I'd say for modern day, probably Carlos Tevez.
Great answer.
Yeah.
And your favourite ever non-West Ham player, if you have one?
Oh, favourite ever non-West Ham.
Growing up, if there was a player you tried to imitate or...
definitely not imitate. To be fair, I think one of the players I loved growing up was Thierry Henry. Yeah. He was just unbelievable to watch. So I think, during that time when it was the Arsenal Invincibles, the old classic O2 kits, it was it was good. Yeah,
perfect. After a long week at work, what are you sitting down and enjoying as a nice alcoholic beverage to start the weekend?
Well, I do like a gin and tonic, so that's always a good one. Like, especially now, I'd say if it was like winter time, I'm quite a cider drinker, so I like a nice cold cider. But at the moment, gin and tonic in the sun was good.
Very nice.
And finally, we ask all our listeners this: loyal or unloyal?
Loyal.
I'm not sure how people interpret that question, but yeah,
very loyal.
Loyal's probably the right answer.
As it is talking loyal, stay loyal. We always got to ask it. Right. Before we move on to the main part of the show, we'll always start the teaser again, and this one is for both of you to have a crack at. Mario Balotelli infamously played for both Inter Milan and Manchester City, but who did he score more goals for? So you can have a crack at each, and obviously you get a point for whoever gets closest.
Oh yeah, give it a go at the end.
Yeah,
I'll give you a clue. It's very close.
Yeah, he wasn't prolific, was he?
No, no, it wasn't.
It's how many years he spent at both clubs. Isn't it?
That's true.
That's the issue, isn't
yeah.
it? Because he was at Inter for quite a while, wasn't he?
Ooh, oh yeah.
He's been around the block in Serie A, hasn't he? He's been like literally every other club.
Yeah, he's been. Wouldn't even have no idea, but yeah, we'll have a go.
Definitely.
Right, so let's start Fiorentina versus West Ham in Prague on Wednesday night. You're not going to Prague, are you, too? Haven't got a trip booked or anything?
No. To be fair, when the semi-final got announced, or the draws for the semi-final, quarterfinals and semi-finals, I was looking at flights, and they were relatively cheap at the time. But as soon as we got into the semis,
they go up.
The prices of the flights just skyrocketed to about like 600, 700 quid just to get out there, and because the stadium's not that big, right? It's just only 20,000, I think. It's not big. It was hard to even get tickets to like get into the stadium. So I think, I know a fair few people that are going, but just going to be like in the fan zone outside the stadium and watching it from there. But no, I'll be at the famous Bell in Danbury on Wednesday watching it. So
I'll make sure I won't be in the Bell on when that's on.
Want me singing West Ham Massive? I'm joking.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's only it's obviously Prague's a brilliant city for it to be in, but yeah, there's obviously been a massive chat about the stadium, isn't there? The 20,000 capacity and all the rest of it, but
yeah, the thing that's I'm not say annoying because it's obviously how football make money, but a lot of the the allocation for each of the clubs, I think it's only been like 5,500-6,000 per that, and then you got the sponsors. So sponsors take half the stadium out anyway, and all the boxes and stuff. So it's it's a real shame. I think it might affect the atmosphere, but even with 5,000 West Ham fans, they'll still make noise.
I think there'll be, like you said, there'll be loads of probably tens of thousands gone out to Prague anyway.
Definitely.
So. And I'm not sure about Fiorentina if they're massive support. I don't really know.
They're quite
I'm sure
club.
I've seen they're a reasonably big club. Like I would put them on par with someone like Valencia. I don't know. I'm sort of thinking.
I wouldn't know, but I imagine in Prague there'll be plenty more West Ham fans out there, surely. But yeah, I think like you said, just to be out there, the atmosphere and being around it and in and around involved with the situation must be a very, very good week for West Ham fans. Just hope it ends.
Yeah,
ends on the 90 minutes.
I think for the season that we've had, it's been incredibly up and down. Well, I think more down than up, to be totally honest, with the league form. It's so funny. This would make it probably the best season I've ever had as a West Ham fan, just in one game.
Yeah, definitely.
Bearing in mind how trash the league form's been.
Well, that's what I said I'm going to say here, but league season was probably a total time to forget. But being in this European final has totally changed it. Like you said, if you win it, who cares if you finished 14th, 17th, whatever, 8th, wherever you were in the league, it don't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. But obviously, it all comes down to Wednesday night. If you were to grade West Ham's season A to F, what would it be? It would be A-star, wouldn't it?
If we win it, it's an A+, A-star, absolutely, because winning a European trophy for the first time in 50 odd years, it doesn't really get any better than that. And also the fact, if we win it, we're in the Europa League next season, which is a step up anyway.
It's another year, isn't it? That'd be the third year in a row.
Third year in a row in
European
Europe,
football, which is
and it's straight to the group stages as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Knocking around Astra Go-Go again.
Starting the season in July and then
in some random European countries,
So I think if we win A+, if we don't, it's probably probably get into the final. We'll make it probably a C, but the league form's been so bad.
Yeah.
Player of the season so far, West Ham. Who do you think's had a?
I think the general response is Declan Rice. I think he's been, especially at the back end of the season, probably trying to play his way into a move to a bigger club. But that's I see your eye twinkling there, Tony. But I actually think in my mind, Agard's been probably our best player.
He was injured for a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But when I've seen him, obviously he was part of the Morocco team that got to the World Cup semi-final. He's been brilliant. He's a very, very good defender. I think 30 million was a bit of a steal for him, to be totally honest. I think he's been definitely our best player, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. And an upgrade on what you had before with, I know Dawson was a bit of a cult hero, wasn't he?
Ballon Dawson, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Ripping up at Wolves, or probably not, but don't get me wrong, Dawson was a really good player, but yeah, definitely a step up, But at the time, obviously, we got him before the World Cup, and the World Cup's probably just raised his value even more. So,
yeah, like you said, it's the first final European final for West Ham since 75-76 when they were runners up in the Cup Winners' Cup against Anderlecht.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we said earlier, probably the biggest game in many lives of West Ham fans, I imagine.
Probably since last year when they've obviously gone.
Oh, sorry, true. Sorry, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's sort of
obviously
they've gone one step further in the semi-final. That game against obviously Lyon was the quarter-final, wasn't it, last year?
Yeah.
And then was it Frankfurt? Who'd go on to win it. Shall I say? Sorry.
Yeah, I think the game last year. I think conceding so early in the first leg of the semi-final, we were at home, conceded within 2 minutes to Frankfurt. I just kind of we thought, well, it's only going to go one way here.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know, just it felt different. It felt different against Alkmaar in the semi-final. It was, even though they were a very good passing team. So if you watched the game, it was very much like they were just passing it for fun and then having some shots. Never really was nervous in terms of their output and scoring goals. I always thought we were quite dangerous on the break.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, cause like you're saying, that Alkmaar game, like you said, they kept the ball nice and they passed it around. They did all this, but they didn't faze West Ham at all. West Ham were not bothered. As a West Ham fan, you're probably maybe not yourself, but a lot are probably watching it nervous and scared and worried about what's going to happen. But as a neutral, I just thought, well, Alkmaar could play till next June and they will not score a goal. They're not awful, but like I said, they keep the ball nice and pretty. But yeah, West Ham on the break, Bowen, Antonio, even Rice driving the ball forward. It wasn't an easy win, but I just couldn't see much else than West Ham beating them, especially over 2 legs.
And even the goal they scored was a was a bit of a howler, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first goal in the first leg was just a bit of a mess and a lucky shot or whatever. It just went in and West Ham regathered themselves and won that game. But yeah,
I was nervous. When we only had a 2-1 lead in this first leg because it was just typical West Ham. It would be classic us to forego a lead. I wanted at least a 2-goal going into the second leg, but no. To be fair, can't fault the lads. They were, it was a really good away performance. You'll take a 1-0 away from home any day of the week. 94th minute winner. It's like the classic, away win, take 3 points, goodbye.
And I think that's how West Ham will play in the final. They'll because I think I don't know much about Fiorentina, but they play that similar style, attacking style and possession-based football. But yeah, I think West Ham will play a similar way in that they'll soak up the pressure. And like I said, Bowen on the counter, Antonio, Rice, Paqueta, whoever else charging forward. Ben Rama if he plays. Again, they have that way with Moyes of they're resolute and they look for counters all the time. And I think in the cup final, it's ideal.
So I did do some research on Fiorentina. If you want some stats,
yes,
go on. I did. I found a bit, but go on.
So obviously from the season, came 8th in Serie A, so they haven't got European football next year. So they have got obviously a vested interest as well because a similar situation to us. If they lose, there's no European football for them next season. They got 1 put. So basically they're points per game, 1.47, 15 wins, 11 draws, 12 defeats in the season. Lost to Inter recently in the Coppa Italia final, which was obviously 2-1. So they're obviously not a bad side.
They took the lead in that game as well. I remember after about 3 minutes, they took the lead.
Yeah, and their form was pretty good as well. They won the last 3 and beat Juventus 4-2, beat Roma 2-1, beat Sassuolo 3-1. So that was, it's a pretty.
Is that your confidence dwindling then?
Every West Ham fan just turns it down slowly.
Listen, Juve, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, as soon as when I saw it, I was like, I was hoping it was some bottom.
Reading that aloud, it's like, oh no.
Oh no, I was like, oh, Jesus. But no, they seem a team that like to play on the break like us. And interesting stat I got. So they score most of their goals in minutes 81 and 90. Right. So they're team that like scoring last minute goals, but also they like conceding last minute goals as well. So They've scored 15 goals between minutes 81 and 90, and 7 goals conceded in minutes 81 and 90 as well.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a bet. Put something.
Yeah, I like the sound of those odds.
Yeah, to be fair. So from what I've seen, I watched a bit of YouTube on them today. They have some really decent players. So one of the players that I'm particularly worried about is Amrabat,
the centre midfielder, isn't he?
Yeah, so he was the one that was in the team of the season, the team of the World Cup, for Morocco, right? So he's clearly got something about him, and he'll probably be trying to pull the strings. And they got Jovic, so he used to play for Real Madrid, so he's scored in I think his last 2 or 3 games, so he's a bit in form. And I know when he moved to Real Madrid, he was doing bits at Frankfurt, wasn't he? So got some good players.
Yeah, and I think they're top. So similar to you, but in the competition alone, they've scored 36 goals so far, and their Cabral is their striker, has scored 7, and like you said, Jovic has scored 6 goals. So they're obviously pretty good going forward. They conceded 16, and West Ham, I think, have only scored 19. Oh, sorry, that's a lie. 27 or something. I think I read, and conceded only 7. So West Ham's defence seems much stronger. But yeah, like you said, Jovic and that Cabral, and maybe the Amrabat in the middle. They're danger players, but I don't know. Deep down,
they're the top goal scorers in the Conference League.
Yeah. They've scored the most goals, and obviously they've got Cabral, who's top scorer, top goal scorer of the tournament. So
never really heard of him before. He's Brazilian, isn't he? Arthur Cabral.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
Talking of, like you just said on Sky Bet there, West Ham are the favourites on Sky Bet at 8 to 11 with Fiorentina at evens. So they're just
baffles.
Slight favourites.
Yeah.
But then I think West Ham were favourites going into that, but maybe that's because I'm my English bias. But is 14th in the Premier League
I'm
better than 8th in?
Yeah.
And West Ham have had a bad season. That's why they're what did you finish last season? 6th.
We
seventh or the 7th. Yeah,
we finished
top
7th,
7, back to back.
League,
top 7.
But West Ham as a squad on paper is a pretty decent squad. I think you've I think we'll all agree you underachieved this year in the league. It was been a pretty poor league form. It was only 6 points off the relegation zone. Yeah, I don't think that's a true reflection of what that squad is capable of or has been doing in the last 2 years. So I think they probably are the favourites. Just
I was saying that in the league, in the Premier League, West Ham are a pretty average side. They lost 20 times. Like you said, it's been a bad season in the league, but lost 20 games in the league alone. They finished 14th. But in the European competition, they haven't lost a game yet. I think they've won 13, drawn 1.
Yeah, so I think I saw that. Yeah.
Won every game in the group stage. Yeah. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And pretty much it's never really been throughout the whole the knockout stage. It's been pretty simple.
Right, yeah. And
in the nicest way possible to the other teams.
And because obviously your league, you obviously the West Ham, they wanted to do much better, but it got to a point like, all right, we just need to stay up, make sure we're safe, and then we can just focus, and that's what they've done, and switched everything towards that European competition, really.
I actually think it was that Arsenal game that week was sort of a turning point for West Ham. Who did you play in the quarters? I think it was the week. Who did you play in the quarterfinal?
So we played Alkmaar in the semi, and we beat Ghent.
Ghent, that was it. And you, I think you beat them away something like 2-1 or 3-1, something like that. And then you played Arsenal. Arsenal played just apart for 8 minutes, and I think everyone in the ground thought, oh, here we go. It was going to go 3-4-0, and then obviously you came back with the penalty, drew. I think you drew a couple more games. Obviously won the second leg against Ghent, and that sort of just kicked you on. With other teams losing, you knew you were safe, and it was sort of more of a relaxed atmosphere that you could then go and focus your attention on the European trophy. And like I said, it's always good to win games, whether it's a Conference League game, Premier League game. You can't beat winning football games, and that obviously spreads a good mentality around the squad and improves your confidence. If you're getting goals here and there, that's only going to improve your form.
To be fair, we I think you're right. The Arsenal game was a big turning point for us. Gave us a bit of confidence that that was kind of like, this was us a couple of years. This was us for the last 2 years, and also beat United as well to basically guarantee safety for us. Yeah. The absolute howler from De Gea. That was just brilliant.
He made another one at the weekend.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah. So for us, it was a case of we knew we were safe. So for the Leicester game, last game of the season, we made so many changes, and we were just like, just rest the legs.
Exactly. Yeah, no one get hurt, no one get injured, and make sure we're okay.
I think for me, the key player for us in the final is Paqueta. I think he's got so much flair, and I think you need a little bit of that. I think there'll be periods in the game where will be under the cosh for quite a considerable amount. I think said they score a lot of goals, so they'll probably want to try and come out strong, really, really fast in the first half, and I think we'll be under pressure. But you need players like Paqueta that will just hold the ball up, take some players on, and just give our defence a bit of a rest,
exactly,
and then we can catch him on the break. So I think he'll be a key player for us. I think this game,
and he'll be in that midfield three with Rice and probably Souček. Will it be?
Yeah. My kind of predicted lineup would be Areola, Zuma, Aged, Kufal, Cresswell, Souček, Rice, Paqueta, Bowen, Antonio, Benrahma. I think that would probably be the two.
So what you reckon Kufal would start?
I think so, yeah, because obviously being in Prague, he used to play in that stadium.
Yeah, Souček and
Souček. So we both got him from Sparta. Was it Sparta Prague? I think.
Possibly, yeah.
So I think for them, experience in them kind of countries and playing that countries probably is quite useful. I do like Ben Johnson. I think he's a good player, good outlet, and you got Cornet as well, who probably has been playing there for a little bit, but I think. No, Moyes is what he is. He does love a bit of experience.
So, true, yeah.
So I think that'll probably be the lineup, in my opinion.
Talking of Moyes, do you think it's as solid as if he wins, he stays, if he loses, he goes?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is that. I generally think so. How can you sack a manager that's just won your European competition if we win? Right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's absolutely impossible. The only way I see him going if we win is if he thinks like, well, I've done now. Yeah. I'll walk.
Yeah.
And I think he would come out with his head held massively high, his reputation massively intact, and he'd probably give himself another job. But I don't think he will. I think he'll want to do more. But I think if we don't win, I think he will go. I think
it's been close when was it 2-3 months ago, the bit of period where obviously we hadn't reached the last stage of this competition, and he was under scrutiny, really, wasn't he? A lot of people were calling for him to be gone, and.
Yeah, it was in January. I think it was around. I think I played Everton at home, and it was between him or Lampard.
Yeah, it was when
the old classic El Sacco, and West Ham won at a canter because Everton were absolutely terrible.
Oh yeah, relegation gate, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just. But then, I don't know. Where did West Ham go? Would you rather, regardless of what in your personal opinion, would you rather him go, and you try something new, even if he does win? And like I said, it would be quite nice to see him off into the sunset with a trophy, and then you bring in a newer manager. If you want to go down a different route, if you could get a Potter or a Brendan Rodgers, don't know, I'm just putting some names. Sam Allardyce again.
I think, in my opinion, I think if I was in his position, and in my opinion, I would say I would like him to go. I think he's done enough with this team now, and I think he's getting to his ceiling in terms of the personnel. Like our team was in terms on paper 3 or 4 times better than it was the last 2 seasons. Like getting players like Scamacca, I know he's been injured, but he was an upgrade on Antonio, and Paqueta's a massive upgrade on a lot of the midfields we've had. Our team is on paper so much better, and it should be achieving so much more. And I just don't believe that Moyes is the right person to get the best out of them players. And I think Tottenham, obviously I've seen that they're going to get Ange Postecoglou from Celtic. I think someone like a manager like that that's just got really good ideas and just wants to play free-flowing, attacking football, I think would be the best direction for us. Yeah. But, as I said, if we win, unless he walks, he won't go. He can't go.
It'll be the Messiah when he Moyes. That is true. But then, like you're saying about the players, this summer anyway, it seems like Rice must be going after the final if you win or lose. So, if Moyes stays, he knows his squad and his best player has gone, but then if a new manager comes in, they're like, okay, we've lost Rice, what do we do now? So maybe Moyes is a good idea to keep hold of for a season.
You can definitely see that point of view, or at least till January, just to see. But I think actually with Rice going, and he's been a massive servant, and he's one of the best players I've ever seen play for West Ham. But actually him going will have let's say 90 to 100 million. With a new manager coming in, he can buy 3 or 4 players of his own ilk, right? And he can mould the team around these new additions, right? We can get at least 2 world-class players, with that amount of money. I believe it's already a done deal, in my opinion. I think Arsenal is the team he will go to.
Yeah, there's a lot of chat about Bayern Munich, but I'm sure Tate would take him at Arsenal.
No, it's either Arsenal, I think, or City. If City go and just want to be City and be like, let's just
whatever you've offered, give 20 million more.
Just do it because we can. I mean, I would love him at our club. I think Arsenal would need to go to that next gear in midfield, and him coming in and possibly another one would be that next level. That I would liken it to the Liverpool move of when they went and got Van Dijk and Alisson.
Yeah.
That next level of, these are proper players.
Yeah.
They aren't players that you think, it can be good in 3-4 years' time. They're players now coming in
who are brilliant,
bloody good players.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see Rice as well, because you see him how he performs with England as well, around better players.
Yeah,
you see how Paqueta's going to improve when he's around Rice, but Souček is a bit of a workman, and he's had good years for West Ham, but I do think there's technically better players than him as well that would have improved Rice's game as well.
He's had a really poor season, and Souček, I think, will be the first to admit it. I think he's not been very good.
Yeah.
He what was really good about him a few seasons ago was that he was scoring headers from set pieces. He was very, very dangerous for set pieces, but also, because of his, general height and his build, he was just bullying players, like just, driving midfield. But he seems to have lost a little bit of pace and generally just a lack of ideas. And also, we haven't scored as many goals from set pieces. That used to be our...
like you said, probably a season or 2 seasons, it was like West Ham corner and West Ham goal. It was just like, please don't...
He scored like 12 goals in one season from set pieces or corners.
Don't kick it out for a corner, whatever you do against them. But it's true this year, it's not... I mean, you've probably scored a few, but nowhere near as dangerous, it seems.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it was Dawson and Souček. They were like the lockdown fantasy football legends to get in.
Yeah.
But... it was interesting you brought up about Moyes and Scamacca. Did any of you see the Antonio podcast thing he had a while back? He basically slated Scamacca and said that you can tell he's a good player, like he's nice and pretty in training, good touch and that, but he's not a David Moyes player. No. Like, he needs good service, not scraps.
He's probably right, but it's obviously coming from Antonio at the moment. It's in today's world, that's just frowned upon, like a current player, his teammate and all the rest of it, but he's probably not wrong. Scamacca is probably a good player, but like you said, for West Ham and Moyes and the way he wants to play, he probably is not the man for him.
There was one also outrageous shout on that podcast that Antonio said.
What did he say?
I disagree with him wholeheartedly. They were talking about Haaland, and obviously Haaland scored 36 goals in the Premier League, and they were basically saying, but any Premier League striker worth his worth would score 30 goals. They said even like... Mikhail, you'd back yourself to score 30. He was like, yes, definitely.
No way. No. No.
I appreciate the confidence, Mikhail,
no.
but I need to fact check. I'm pretty sure Aguero never hit 30 goals for Man City in a Premier League season.
Yeah, there's a few.
Can't do it.
There's a few that would, but no. Antonio, I'm sorry, mate.
Don't get me wrong. Like, he is... Antonio, I'll always love him because he's very much a fan favourite at West Ham, because he's just someone that will just run at players and just... bulldoze his way through like defences, and he'll give 110%, and that's kind of like...
That's what you want, though, as a fan.
Exactly. But, absolutely do not agree he'll get 30 goals. He needs a touch first before he does that. He needs a good touch.
True.
He's always reminded me of a bit like when we had Welbeck. He was everything a striker needs, apart from composure in goal, composure in front of goal.
Yeah.
He's quick, he's strong, he can hold the ball up. He's a nuisance. But I also think Antonio... doesn't know what he's about to do as much as the defender doesn't know what he's going to do, but he's always, like you said, he's havoc, and that's the most basic thing you want from your players as a fan, is to watch them
be a nuisance. Yeah,
just try.
He does. Whatever happens, he's always, like you said, running and smashing in someone, tackling. Like as a striker, he's tackling the head in. Yeah, like you said, as a fan, that's all you want to see, isn't it?
And as a centre half, you can't imagine playing against more, like he's just awkward any to play against. Like you said, he might not be the best technically, but he's going to be heavy and bashing into you and chasing you down, and it can't be nice for any centre half to deal with that all the time.
To be fair, I listened to him on the. Do you listen to the Footballers Football podcast? He does one with Callum Wilson, which is
slacking up for Charles.
Yeah, that was really funny. But he summed up his season. He said, like, I would have liked at least like 5-6 more Premier League goals, but he's still got, I think, 6 goals in Europe for us this season. Like, I think obviously Premier League defenders know what he's about now, so probably he's pretty one-dimensional. Yeah. But with European defenders, don't play with him every single week, right? Or play against him and know what he's about, right? So, if I was a defender like that, I'd probably be
you wouldn't want, see Antonio, just like big old muscles and tight kick come out, no way.
Yeah, shorts.
That. Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, I don't know too much about Fiorentina, but I do have, although one thing I read that was a Italian reporter who works closely with Fiorentina, Paolo Menacucci, I probably butchered his name. says, if it all clicks in Prague, West Ham will be in for a torrid night. And I say laughing because I hope he's so true. But well, yeah, but I don't know.
On that note, shall we all make a prediction?
Yeah, go on.
Go on then.
Shall we let's let the guest start first?
Yeah,
the West Ham fan.
Andy, the honour.
I think for the sake, what I want it to be, I want it to be done in 90. Yeah. I think 2-1 in the 90. I think we'll win it, and I'm confident we will win it. In my opinion,
2-1 West Ham. Go on, Jack.
I've gone the other. I've gone 2-1 Fiorentina.
Of course you have.
Like Andy said though, in 90 minutes, I think they've got to score twice in 90 to beat West Ham.
Well, I said Fiorentina in my predictions, and on the when we got to the semi-finals. I'll go Fiorentina on penalties.
Oh,
that would surprise me.
A long night.
Oh, that'd be heartache.
Long night in Prague.
That would be a heartache.
When I was in Madeira on holiday last week, they had the Roma game.
Oh.
What a trash final that was!
Oh my god!
Oh, like an absolute Z fest when it was awful.
Do you know the worst thing about it? I think it was 29 minutes of additional time throughout the whole game. There was like 7 in the first half, 6 in the second half, 9 in the first half of extra time, and like another 6. It was
ridiculous.
But if you were going to if you were going to write the script for Roma versus Seville, Jose Mourinho's Roma versus a Seville that don't give up and always win somehow win this European trophy, it was going to be a snooze. Maybe a 0-0, 1-1 draw with lots of yellow cards.
It was horrible. But like you said, it went all the way to penalties. Yeah, that'd be torture for West Ham.
I think it's either going to go one or two ways. It's either going to be a really open game and it's going to be end to end, or it's going to be incredibly cagey and it's going to go to probably penalties or at least extra time. Yeah. But as a fan, I'd want it done in 90. I don't know my heart could take it. I'm physically sick.
Yeah, the whole of Essex would be in tears if it went to penalties.
And you'd love every single second of it.
Yeah, then I'll be down the Bell pub outside.
Dressed in full purple.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hope it's 90. Get it done. But who knows? I don't know. I feel like it's just a cup final, the European format of the knockouts and all the rest of it is just set up for West Ham. The way they've been playing, the way they try and play as well with Moyes, and they obviously have some very good players. I think it's set up nicely for them, but we'll see.
So should we end it there for part 1?
Yeah.
We'll come back part 2 on the Champions League preview.
So, finish with the Conference League final, and we'll move on to Champions League final, Man City versus Inter Milan, which is Saturday 10th of June at the Turkish, I can't pronounce the actual name, but Turkish National Stadium in Istanbul, which is obviously famously where the miracle of Istanbul, Liverpool 3-0 down at half-time, went on to win on pens versus AC Milan. But, yes, Man City face Inter Milan.
Yeah, after a great result for them at the weekend, winning their second trophy of the season, FA Cup in the bag.
Yep.
Lovely to see that. The Essex Reds.
Yes. Yeah, no, they were not always going to win, but I couldn't see much else happening that day.
I woke up on the day and I was like, man, I can win this.
No,
I was so sulky, and I was so sulky when they got that penalty. Because it's outrageous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a stupid decision, but go on, Andy, what was you?
I was just going to say, what a goal from Gundogan.
Yeah, within 12, fastest goal in FA Cup final, and what a goal it was, ridiculous.
It's like you're not even in the game at that point.
No.
You're probably just you've just done your warm up before the game, you've had the team talk, and literally you pulled that out the bag. It was an unbelievable strike.
And you're right though. I think the United players in midfield were just sort of waddling about. No one, I think Haaland or someone missed a header, Casemiro missed a header. And just absolutely thumped it, and you won them down against the best side in the world. It's not a good start.
I felt like they didn't really get out of third gear. Really, yeah. I think I
don't think they were brilliant, but they're obviously still more than good enough to win the game. So
because, like you said, I didn't think they got out of third gear, and that's why I was a little bit worried when they got the penalty and they scored because United got a bit ahead of a steam. But I do think if that penalty was never given, City would just kept them at arm's length and be like, just like a boxing match, it will beat you on points.
Yeah,
we know we're that class above.
They would have shifted it when they needed to get a goal or whatever. Yeah, definitely.
It felt like it was like a kind of Floyd Mayweather kind of way looking. Yeah. Just kind of keep him arm's length, just play him off the park a little bit. I got to say, Stones in that midfield role is
brilliantly
class.
He's very good. How nice is that Cruyff when he just did it? Did Rashford
joke? Yeah, because I think towards the end of the game, Diaz was like trying to grab Stones and tell him to play 4 at the back or 5 at whatever. We've got to hold it tight. And Stones was basically saying, "No, I'm going to midfield. Get me on the ball." Like he's next level, absolute next level.
Because he was playing that position from the right back role, and now he's playing it from the centre half role, pushing into midfield, and it's so nice to watch him do that. And you think, is there a way he could do it for England? But then you've got the slabhead and dying behind him.
Yeah, but then you don't have Pep. You don't have Pep in charge.
Yeah, you've got Southgate trying to.
It's not going to. Yeah, it's not never. But yeah, it's very, very difficult to do that. But yeah, they're on for the treble, Man City.
Yeah, I think we're probably all sitting here agreeing that I think they'll do it.
Yeah, I think so. I think
they've got the experience of that absolute hell show on earth they did in 2020 or 21 where it was against Chelsea. That was just 21. A shambles of a performance.
Yeah.
Where I think the occasion obviously got to them. The year before they lost out in the semi-final, quarter-final to Lyon, I think it was, just a shambles performance. And again, I think De Bruyne got injured after about 20 minutes, and they never got going, did they, again in that final against Chelsea? They just froze, and I think that will give them the experience this year to go on and show them that they are the best team in the world.
I think last year, I think, wasn't it like that Guardiola made like a random selection thing. He didn't play Rodri or something like that, or made some weird selection in midfield. I think he'll go. I think he won't pull them punches this time.
Yeah,
I feel like that was a little bit of arrogance from his side, because I was like, let me just do something absolutely outrageous in the midfield in the final because we're going to win it. I think he's now just thinking, let's just get it done, because I think,
like you said, that I think I mentioned it before in other episodes, but exactly that this season Pep has binned off all but he stopped playing Bernardo Silva left back and Rodri centre half and whatever. I know Stones is now playing that role, but he's obviously brilliant at it, and it works well. But yeah, I think they've shown this year, Real Madrid over 2 legs, when the massive game when they had to play Arsenal, they destroyed them. Do you know what I mean? They destroyed Man United when they've had to. They beat them in the FA Cup final. They've won the league again. In the big moments this year, they've turned up, and I don't see anything different for the final.
Yeah, you'd expect it to be exactly the same starting lineup that played against United.
Yeah,
the Edison Walker. Well, obviously the goalkeeper, Edison will come in.
Yeah, Edison. I think that's
Walker,
it, yeah.
Diaz, Stones, Akanji, Rodri, Silva, De Bruyne, Grealish, Gundogan, and Haaland.
Yeah.
That'd be
I think literally swap the goalies out. Maybe Ake or Akanji. I don't know whatever he prefers on a day, but yeah. I don't think there's going to be much difference in what you've seen already this season.
Got two things. Firstly, how good is Akanji? That's such a steal. It was like 15 million or something like that. It's such a good buy from them. He's great cover, and Ake's been brilliant this season. So that strength in depth. If they one of them goes off injured, you've got Ake or even Laporte's
Laporte came for a minute, didn't he?
Laporte doesn't even play, and he'd get into every team in the league. It's ridiculous.
And I think it's been interesting the last 4 or 5 games because Haaland's scoring has dried up a little bit. I know he's scored 36 goals in the Premier League season, but the last 4 or 5 games, I think he's only scored 1 goal, and I think that's intentional in my opinion. I think he's allowing Grealish, Bernardo Silva just drive and to drive at the defences, and he's just taking about 2 or 3 defenders with him because he's so you need to man mark him, probably double man mark him. So I think that's an intentional ploy, and I think that will be similar effects. I think on Saturday.
Yeah, like I said, he's probably occupying 2 centre halves
because they're too concerned about him, aren't they? Yeah.
And the opposition manager's gone in there. But we need to stop. If you stop him scoring,
we do all right.
That's half the job. But then you've got
you've got De Bruyne, Grealish, Silva, Mahrez, whoever's running off.
Or if Foden fancies 15 minutes to come on.
Yeah, Phil Foden, who's won the Premier League 3 times.
It was the audacity of it was FA Cup semi-final. 2-1 up with 15 minutes to go, and he just hooked De Bruyne and brought on Foden. It was the audacity to take off your best player.
It's strength in depth, isn't it? Like you said, you can play, a combination of 4 or 5 different wingers, and they're still world class. Like Mahrez, Foden, Grealish, Bernardo Silva. It's just scary at that point, isn't it?
And this year as well, they are, like I said earlier about the big games. They are all playing to the next level. It's all well and good saying they've got brilliant players, but everyone is on form. Everyone is trying their best to get in that side, and yeah, I've not seen anything like it. They're just an absolute juggernaut.
Compared to, I mentioned it a few weeks ago on the other podcast. Inter Milan still have, it's 2023, isn't it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Mkhitaryan is going to be playing in a Champions League final. Like, that's just for me blows. And Edin Dzeko,
Darmian.
Darmian.
Oh, wow.
Like ex Premier League players.
Yeah.
Like, how is that? Darmian was horrific for United. Mkhitaryan wasn't great for United, was shocking for us. It wasn't even great for Roma, I don't think. And then got a move to Inter, and yes.
And even Dzeko was good at Man City, very good at Man City, but he's probably mid to late 30s now, and he's in a Champions League final. Yeah.
Mkhitaryan's agent must need a raise, right?
Yeah,
he's done well.
Definitely, he's done incredible.
Well, he actually used to have Riola as his agent, the old Pogba's one.
Yeah, the super agent.
With Zlatan had him as well. But Man City have gone through this whole Champions League campaign without losing. 6 wins, 5 draws. I mean, they barely lost all season, to be fair.
Just like West Ham, right?
Similar teams,
whereas Inter, 7 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. Inter, though, have obviously been a surprise package this year. I don't think anyone would have put them down to get the final. But on paper, they haven't had to play anyone.
Yeah, I looked at
particularly hard, have they?
They kept 8 clean sheets, but like you said, they've still lost twice, or it was 2 games, 3 games?
Yeah, twice, yeah.
But yeah, they've not had a. It's similar to like Tottenham when they got to the final. No, you'd have.
You didn't win any games. You drew.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's just like somehow Inter Milan are in the final, and they'll obviously they'll be absolutely buzzing with that. But yeah, I think for them the weekend is just a free hit. Pretty much, no pressure on them at all.
They've avoided some massive teams like Napoli. That, I tipped them to probably win the Champions League.
Yeah, when that
everyone
did
that
sounded
on that side of the draw.
And I think with AC Milan. I think AC Milan did the absolute European job on them. Like it was just again, keep them at arm's length. Don't let them get too ahead and just get that Giroud goal right.
Yeah.
And again that first leg, of the Inter AC match, it was just like it wasn't a great game of football. It was very cagey until Mkhitaryan somehow got a goal, and then who was it?
Dzeko.
Oh, what a volley that was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a great volley, to be fair. But yeah, I in my opinion, Man City are way too strong for him.
Yeah, I think so. Although Inter Milan then won it 3 times. Obviously, most recently, 13 years ago, Mourinho, 2010. They obviously have massive history, and they're very, I suppose, historical and huge club in the world of football. But yeah, I think this season, Man City
definitely
just too powerful.
Interesting enough, like you just mentioned, when they lost one in 2010, that capped their treble. And City obviously going for the same thing to emulate their local rivals, Manchester United.
Yep. Yeah.
It's some achievement. It's only ever been done once. 1999. What's that? 20 odd years ago.
Yeah, about 24 years ago.
Yeah, it's awful. So I'm not going to try and work that one out.
Yeah, it'd be incredible. And it is the 3. It's the league, the FA Cup, and potentially the Champions League. It'd be quite incredible. And the way they're doing it, and possibly will do it, like I said, they're just a brilliant side, aren't they?
Yeah, like obviously they've got an amazing manager and they've spent like heaps of money, but you've still got to get the team to play and play in a way. And some of the play they make, it's the pace of passing, it's the pace of Haaland behind, it's the absolute genius of De Bruyne where you can just thread a ball through a needle.
They've got it all, haven't they?
Yeah,
and like you said, they've spent loads of money, and they do spend loads of money, but it's still spending it correctly. Like Akanji, 15 million. They didn't have to spend 15 million on him, but they chose to because they knew that he'd be good. And Haaland, obviously, ridiculous money on him, but it's proven this season it's worth every penny. So
Man United, the prime example. They've spent heaps of money.
More.
Yeah.
If not more, but they, like you said, 90 on Pogba, 90 on Anthony, 90 on Jadon Sancho,
80 Maguire.
Yeah. And but again, you said about Chelsea.
Like the tumbleweeds go on that
one. Same with Chelsea. They spent ridiculous money, and it hasn't worked right away. But City's just far too good, aren't they?
But then City, where City can get away with it, they can buy again with their mistakes, whereas Arsenal, Chelsea, United, even to a extent, have to live with them.
Yeah.
we bought Pepe for £72 million, which is horrific, but we had to stick with him for 3 years and try and get something out of him. We couldn't. We had to send him on loan, and the only way we got around it is somehow we had a very good youth player come through the system for free that sorted out that issue for us. And whereas City, remember they bought Danilo, which was crap, for like 30 million. Then we'll go buy Kyle Walker the next year for 50 million. We'll get around it that way. Or when they bought Mendy for 56 million, realised he couldn't defend, and then went and bought Cancelo for 50 odd mil. They get around these things by just being able to keep going again and keep going again. I'm sure United would love to go buy another £80 million centre half to replace the one they give Maguire, but they just can't. And that's a reason why they've got 114 charges against them.
Yeah, that is looming over a minute. I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Because they just keep doing it. And there's obviously, I think it will be 14. How long did the investigation take? Like 10 years to come to this. I think it'll be another 10 years for anything ever happens.
Yeah.
You've got to be very ballsy to take on City. You'll just be like, right, get the lawyers involved.
Yeah, they're just
Every corporation that's tried to get City in trouble. UEFA went for and they got to give them a 2-year ban and a massive fine, and they got away with nothing. They literally got away with it all.
Yeah,
Czech Mansour just gets the lawyers involved, and then we can get bigger and better lawyers than you, and
I think they are quite a clever club in terms of like their recruitment and generally selling players as well. Like the fact that they can adapt losing Jesus and Sterling at the start of the season and replace them with probably better players, or you can see the model. Like obviously Grealish is probably going to be the replacement for Sterling in their mind, right, long term. And having Haaland is the upgrade of Jesus, right?
Yeah, and even Alvarez bringing him a World Cup winner. So.
Brilliant.
Like he's just really good, and their net spend I think even this year was. I know Haaland's. I know it was only 60 million, but absolutely masses of wages.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
But I think probably they're this season their net spend's been pretty good.
Well, you said they actually are a well-run club in terms of, like you said, they're selling things, because once any player that comes from Man City, you said they're going to get a fee from. Didn't they sell quite a few players to Southampton in the summer?
The whole youth side.
Yeah, got some money back. And when Liverpool were a couple of years ago, when Liverpool were at their peak, and they sold Danny Ward to Leicester for like 15 mil. He never played. Ryan Brewster got 20 mil.
But you said it like a few weeks ago that
when you're good, you can sell.
When you're at the top and you're flying, these players, people want these players that you think nothing of, and you can sell them for Danny Ward for nearly 20 mil, Brewster for 30 mil. So yeah, you're right. It's and obviously City do that, and I was thinking of our club, but Tottenham. If we had Sterling, there's no way we'd get rid of him. We'd think, oh no, he's brilliant. He scores loads of goals. He does this. He does that. But yeah, City go, no, we'll get rid of you. Get the next one in. Like it's just, they're, like you said, they're a brilliantly run club, and it all seems to be coming to an end. I think the Champions League final will be the final piece.
Just a quick example, just sort of talk about with Spurs on that selling front. I remember that phase when didn't you sell Mason for like 12, 13 mil? Was it Huddleston as well? Went to Hull for 50 mil when you were selling these. Livermore, Livermore went to QPR or someone for a good lot. That's when you're at your peak Pochettino, where players were coming in, get some games, getting some minutes, playing for England, then selling them on. Whereas now you look, Harry Winks, for example, you'd be lucky to get anything for him.
Yeah, he's just come back off loan from Sampdoria, got relegated, so he's doing well.
Whereas if you sold him at his peak under Poch or whenever it was in
charge, easily 20 mil.
Easily 20 mil, and that's... It's sometimes, is it worth biting the bullet and making that sale? And just, for example, when Arsenal did it with Willock, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Iwobi, they were all players that, shall we hold them for another year? But they're the 3 most expensive players we've ever sold.
Yeah.
And we haven't missed any of them.
No.
But City, they are a ruthless club, and that's why they're at the best, because in the summer they're even speaking of Gundogan. He's just scored 2 in the final, but we're not going to give him a new contract.
Yeah, he's the captain. He's
been brilliant. We'll get someone else
here. Major part of the season. Yeah.
The last 3 years they got rid of their last 4 years I think they got rid of their captains. Was it Company, Silva, Fernandinho, now Gundogan, and they always replace them with someone better. You've got Rodri's come in there, Diaz has come in there to replace Company, Laporte even came in there, Silva, you had Bernardo Silva. You're always going to have Phil Foden coming through and getting David Silva's minutes. They're just a ruthless club that is run by the best manager in the world.
Yeah, and that's the main. Is when I said before, but if and when Pep leaves, then you might see a change. But if he stays there, I can't see much change in English football. That is
interesting point. Do you think if he wins the treble and he wins the Champions League with City, do you think he'll do something rogue and be like, I fancy a break.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Yeah, that would be quite shocking, I think. But I think that's a good point. Like, think about it now. Obviously, he can go to any club in the world, but I think after this, like you said, I think he'd only stop for a break and have maybe a season off. Or
that's what happened when he left Barcelona. Didn't he? He had the Bayern Munich, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Had the year off in New York. Just fancied, just living in Times Square for a year. It was like then went to City.
It's all right for some, but I don't know. Maybe it's a very good point. And after a treble, what can you do? I know for him, he just wants to win it all and win games. And
if it wasn't for that darn Nathan Jones, he would have done it.
He's trash, that manager. Yeah. God.
But there's always been rumours that he wants to do international football. I don't think he would go this year. If he could do a 4-peat of the Premier League, win it 4 years on the bounce, something that Fergie don't think he ever did.
I don't think
no
comment.
We'll have to listeners correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I don't
Chelsea
think
Reds.
I don't think he ever did it. I don't think he ever did a 4-peat. I don't think anyone's ever done it in Premier League history. Maybe before that time. That would be massive. I mean, obviously they are capable. They are the only team capable of winning the quad.
Yeah.
And it's strangely enough that Carabao Cup is always their competition. They just
messed
win
up.
No one really even remembers, but they've won like 6 of their last 7. They just win it.
Like, is what is one of those things.
Yeah, they always win it.
Yeah, because the FA Cup was one they didn't actually always do well at, did they?
No, they never.
I think they've won it twice now. Is that wrong? 3 times?
Recently, let's have a think. They've won it.
I think it's twice
this year. They demolished Watford, wasn't it 7-0?
Yes.
With Pep, I think
I think it's twice with Pep.
I think that's the only 2. Before that, I'm thinking they won it. That was their first trophy they won when they had.
That was the start.
I think they beat Stoke in the final.
Yeah.
No, because Arsenal have won it 4 times recently. United have won it once in there. Chelsea have lost a lot of finals in there. I know they've won it once. No, Chelsea have lost like 5 of their last 6 FA Cup finals.
Yeah, I want to say it's the second time with Pep, but I'm reading the report now and all their focus is on the Champions League, of course, and he says we have to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
Well, this was sort of like the awkward game in the middle where everyone was talking about the treble, but obviously everyone thinks Inter's the easier game. This was the potential banana skin that they've now got over. Week to recover. All eyes on that. Like they've got to do it, haven't they?
I think so.
I think so too. I think as I said, I think Man United was the banana skin. I think if they would have lost that game, then I would have been a little bit worried for him, because I think they would either been in completely relentless mood and just win the Champions League, or it could have really rattled them. But I think winning the game and winning it, I'd say pretty much at a canter most of the time. They're just like, well, if we can beat Man United at a canter, and I think even Man United could beat this Inter side, if I'm being totally honest. I think then they're nothing to be scared about from a Man City perspective, and I think there's again, I think similar to the West Ham Fiorentina game, so I can go one or two ways. It's I think it's going to go either City absolutely demolish them, win 3-0, it's going to be pretty easy, or Inter will just do the Mourinho part the bus and just grind it as long as possible, and try and get them on a relative counter. They've got some good players. Like I quite like that Dumfries. I think isn't he like
the fullback? The
fullback, and he I remember at the World Cup he was just like ploughing down the wing for the Netherlands, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, like Fiorentina, really, I don't know too much about Inter Milan and don't pretend to know loads about them. But they've obviously got players we know: Dzeko, Mkhitaryan. I think the goalie's made the most saves in the competition this year, which is probably not a good sign for Inter Milan if they're conceding loads of chances. But I think, like you said, they're a classic Italian side, aren't they? Defend and keep it tight and keep it resolute, and then try and counter and nick a goal, win the game 1-0. They'll be very, very happy. But I think unless they pull off an incredible result and they're absolutely play out their skin, I can't see much else in the City win.
Big Ron winner.
Nah,
big Rom
Rom.
Rom, yeah.
Imagine him throwing him on. He just batters Diaz. Nah,
I think I you can see City scoring at least twice. Like any prediction we probably all have here would be a 2-1, a 2-0. We'll get on a prediction later, but then can you picture Inter scoring 3?
No, not at all.
Have City conceded 3 all season in any game?
When they beat United 6-3, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that when they were 6-1 up.
Yeah.
Like
no, I not off the top of my head, but yeah, like you said, I think Inter's got to be.
That was fantastic how quickly you got that.
It's got to be 0-0, 1-0, and it's got to be tight and a horrible game, similar to the Roma Seville. It's just got to be a disgusting game to watch. That's the only way they can break them up. But
City have got to do a Chelsea. City have got to do a Chelsea last season, and Inter have to have the game of their life, in my opinion, for that to even be a possibility.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be interesting to know what is the highest ever scoreline in a Champions League final.
It can't, any final. I'd like to know any final. Obviously, apart from when.
Because I remember City won. It was obviously City won 7-0, and that was outrageous. But when I remember Arsenal beat Villa 4-1 in the FA Cup, 4-0 in the FA Cup final, and that was the biggest FA Cup final result ever, I think. And Villa were crap, and they were finished like 18th.
It's a good question because most finals are, don't matter how good Man City are, how bad the other team might be, they're always pretty
tight,
boring and tight, and the odd goal here and there. It'd be similar for West Ham and in the week. Like, I don't know. Finals. I mean, I'll go into my prediction now, but I said City 3-0 if it goes the way I think it will go. But I don't know. Even then, it might be 2-0, and they just keep the ball for the rest of the game. And
is it the biggest mismatch in a Champions League final in recent times?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
possibly.
think.
It's got to be, and it's got to be up there. It must be. Like we said, how have Inter got that far? I don't know.
Where did Inter come this season? Was it
third in Italy. Yeah. So they're not necessarily the best side.
Only because Juve got 10 points deducted, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they got given back, and then they got
That's
deducted.
True,
they got 12 taken, 12 given back, and 10 taken.
Yeah, I do think it on paper it is a bit of a mismatch, but a final can happen. Anything can happen in a final, unfortunately. But I think. If I was going my prediction, I think 3-1. Yeah. I think in normal time, I don't think it goes to extra time at all.
I think so too. Tate, what do you reckon?
I'd say 2-0.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with my man Rodri as well.
Big man Rodri.
My mate.
Is that player of the year?
He's been unbelievable again this season.
He's a brilliant player.
He's one of them. He's just class.
De Bruyne free kick for me. I think he's going to score a free kick.
Class.
Name any of them. They'll anyone can score. They're brilliant.
Haaland's been on a drought.
Yeah, he might turn up. I just think if they score that first goal in the first half, then it's
13
done.
seconds.
Yeah, but I think it's done unless Inter have to keep it 0-0, maybe 1-0 late on. But I think City score that first goal, it's game over.
Yeah, agreed.
For a neutral, you'd want first 5 minutes into goal, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. For an exciting game,
They need the first goal for a neutral to be like, oh, here we go.
But they need that goal, like you said, inside 10 minutes. If they drag out, it'd be an awful game. But I can't see. And that's like you just see their attitude and the way their thought process straight after the final, beating United. All the players on the pitch like, right, one more. Haaland saying one more game. And it's just different level, absolutely different level.
No, it is. Mad. I think it's also fitting that finally they do it. Like there's been in the works for a while. When did they get taken over? 2010. Yeah, it was always the chat. And then they got Champions League a couple of years after that. I always remember the year they missed out when Crouchy scored, didn't he?
That's good. Yeah.
And the year after, I think they then got it, and they've been building this moat. They haven't actually had a particularly great record in Europe. A couple of semi-finals here and there. Obviously losing the final against Chelsea, like we mentioned. I think now it's right. Pep hasn't won it for a while since that unbelievable Barca team beat United in.
I think it's Pep's fourth. It'll be his fourth Champions League.
Was that when Messi rose above Ferdinand, wasn't it?
That was the one, they won it twice. They won it then, and they won it again at Wembley.
He won it in 10-11 because
Atletico won it. Was it Atletico?
No, they beat United twice in the final.
No, but Inter won it the year before, and then the year before that, Pep won it. So it's Pep, Inter, basically, or Jose Pep.
This will be his third time then, won't it?
Yeah, and it's fourth final. But on the final itself, it's a sort of relatable story to Tate's weekend. The referee for the Champions League final, interestingly, is I'm going to go Simon Marciniak, who's Polish, and he actually officiated the World Cup final between Argentina and France at the end of last year, and he's been given the Champions League final. So what a season he's having! But the main fact of that bit of information that he's Polish, Tate. And do you want to talk about the weekend that you could have had?
Yes, we can. But on that, hasn't he? Has he got it taken away? Is he still? Because he did some. He's been misbehaving, hasn't he?
Oh, is he? I don't know.
I thought you brought it up.
Oh no, I just read it as this was the report where I read today. It said he was.
Oh no, because there's a news story. He went to some far right.
I don't know.
So he went to some
the
far
pod's
right.
taking a turn. I don't know what's happening.
He went to some far right fascist movement. Type in his name quickly.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
I might, unless I've dreamt this in my anger about the weekend. I'm pretty sure he might have been stripped to the final, or he's come out and apologised, or.
I have to look. Go on, you.
And yeah, so I've.
UEFA keep. I'm not going to say his name again, but as Champions League final referee after apology for speaking at a far right event 2 days ago.
Nice one.
Yeah, good knowledge. Maybe
I thought that's why you brought it up, because of the news story.
I didn't know about that. Yeah, I mean.
No, well.
Back to the real story.
Jesus. Listener of the show and good friend of ours, Jim Hyde, and I.
Who actually looks similar to the ref.
It's like a classic. That could be any ref, couldn't it? That could be
any
Andy
Polish
Taylor.
man.
That could be Howard Webb.
Jim Hyde.
Paul Tierney's bold now. We'd booked to go to Krakow, mainly to go see Auschwitz and then explore the town of Krakow, watch the FA Cup final, have some beers and have a lovely time. It's all going very well. Jim arrived Thursday evening at mine. Went to bed, woke up 3 a.m, walked to the bus stop, got the bus, went off to the perfect start. The bus, I think the UK government are doing something, some initiative to use the bus. So each journey is only £2, so it costs £4 return. Normally it's 16, so I was like, great, this is fantastic. Got there, loads of time, straight through, no real queues, straight to the airport. Straight to the through security.
The lounge and all that, yeah.
Sat down, ordered a nice fry up and a beer at 4:20 in the morning. Loads of time. Even bumped into other West Ham fan, Ollie Franklin, at the airport.
Yep.
Had a little
Big up
chat.
Ollie.
Had a little chat with him. He's on his way to Sweden.
I was going to say he's on his way to Sweden.
Yeah.
DJing, right?
Yeah.
Doing a bit of DJing.
Just chatting. Looked at the time. We still had a lot of time, so we thought, let's go get some. We want to get a drink and some chewing gum and that from Dabrate Smith.
I'm just laughing because it's such a good story.
Strolled up to the gate and I said, "Oh, Jim, just you take a seat quickly. I need to go to the loo." Went to the loo, came back, strolled in. There was like 5 people left on the queue. Perfect timing. Well, actually, there was one guy kicking off in the queue. He had his shirt off, and then they took him out the queue. I think he got kicked off the plane. And then I was like, "No, Jim, you go first. You go first." Scanned his thing. Took a look at his passport. He walked through, and when you get to, you walk through the little, it's like the aeroplane.
Yeah,
it takes you from the lobby to the plane.
Yeah,
and then
the little hallway part tunnel. Yeah,
he's waiting in the tunnel, waiting for me. Like I can see his eyes lit up, all smiley and ready to go. She scanned my thing. She looked at my passport. She looked at my passport again, and she just scanned through and gone, wait there quickly. And I just smiled and went, no, it's fine. I've got more than 3 months, so you need to Poland.
Did you say that?
Yeah,
you said it.
It's fine. It's
just a clarification.
And she goes, no, I should check something. She went, start date. She went rang through on the radio. Start date, April 2013. Oh, no, that's 10 years old. And then she politely looked me in the face, looked me in the eyes and went, your passport expired in April. Folded it up. You won't be flying us today. Next, please. And then Jim sort of smiled as I got my passport back. Obviously not being able to hear the conversation. And then I'll go to walk through and be like, I need to talk to my friend. And she was like, no, you have to go around the side. And he was like, what's going on here? So he came around the corner and I was like, my passport's 10 years old apparently. And I can't fly. And he was like, what? What? And she was like, can you move out the way, please? And I was like, well, let me make a decision. But I was like, no, Jim, make sure you go. Like, don't you dare not go. Make sure you definitely go. I was like, well, I don't know what to do. And I said, just go, get on the plane, go. Like, and she was like, oh, you might be able to get a flight if you ring up. And I looked online. The nearest point was in Belfast, or the next London one I've got. Is the 21st of June, which I booked today.
Oh, you're actually going to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So you can't even just like order a new passport or...
No, the next one I looked today on the emergency 1 week thing, the next available appointment was the 21st of June.
Bloody hell.
And it's
there must be a massive queue of people.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then from then it takes a week to get the passport. So God knows how they do this passport thing in a day or whatnot. I think you have to fly to Belfast to get it all. But I was like, no, Jim, make sure you go. But yeah, he had a wonderful time. And if we were doing a winner and loser of the week, I think I'd be the loser and he'd be the winner.
I didn't want to say, but yeah, we're not doing it this week. But
savage.
Yeah, loser.
But no, I was so proud of him because I was like, you need to go and just do it and just.
Yeah.
And like I said to him, the worst thing could happen if you have a shit time. Go sit in the Airbnb and watch Netflix all weekend. Go out and watch the FA Cup final and just and that.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, but no, by all accounts, he had
from what we've seen, and I've picked him up Sunday from the airport, and he picked up our little Polish immigrant, and he sounded, and it looked like he had a brilliant time. So,
but I hope you recovered and ready to ref the game on Saturday.
That was a great story, but
So I was back in my bed at about 8:10 on Friday morning.
Writing your notes up for tonight.
Well, I was like, it got to the stage when I got the bus back. It was so depressing getting that bus back home, and I was like, do I go to work? But I got back to the train station in Chelmsford and was like, I could easily get into work, but I was like, the train strikes, so I'm gonna have to wait around for another hour to the next train. I was like, screw it, I'm going home.
Did you even tell you work?
I told her this morning. She was like, the worst thing was I went in this morning and the blokes were like, so how was it? I didn't go. What do you mean? Here we go, the story. I had to tell him the story. A load of them had not a clue that was even a thing that day.
Yeah, no.
I talked about it on Instagram. The amount of DMs I felt like I was bloody famous or something. It's like, oh my God, how is this a rule? When's this a rule?
No one knew.
But Jake's girl from Tatum replied back and she was like, that happened to my head teacher. Family holiday to Greece, a week's holiday on half term. Obviously, he couldn't go. Had to let the wife and kids go on their own because his passport was in. My passport's in date, but it's
from
not.
The issue that it's a mental rule.
So, yes, if you learn anything from this podcast, check your passport.
Yeah, make sure you check your passport well in advance. But as we said, I think Man City win the Champions League final.
That's the best segue ever, that is, isn't it?
From
a Polish ref to the worst thing is I'm now going to have to rebook the trip as well. I'm gonna have to
on your own. You got to do it on your own. You can't do it. Yeah, you got to do it on your own. Very good.
What a weekend in the end. I ended up. When did that? God, I remember I was at about 8 o'clock. I went to the pub. I was like, why am I in the pub in Chelmsford at 8 o'clock? It's the last place I want to be. But there we go.
Your heart must have sank.
You must be gutted.
The worst thing is I've always had everyone gets that butterflies in something when you're going
something.
Don't
you've done something wrong.
Have I done something? And I've touched wood. Never ever ever had any problems with it. Never missed a flight. Never had one cancelled. Never done any of this. And I was like, and there's nothing you can do, is there? The rules are the rules.
You've just
got to take it on the chin. And luckily for me, max £200 out of pocket. I wasn't a week's holiday, but if it was a week, then I probably would have. There's somehow you can get a passport within a week.
Tried more, wouldn't you?
But what's also really annoying for me is if I'd known that rule, I could have done it because we booked the trip 5 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I could have got.
Yeah. It's a good story though. It's a great story. Maybe not for you, but it's a good story.
Yeah, it's one we'll always look back on and laugh about.
Very good.
Hopefully, none of the players have that issue.
No, all those.
That's actually a stressful thing. That these the ladies, that's probably quite a sexist thing to say. The people in HR and that have to look at all these players. They've got
there's
not only do they have a 25-man squad. Obviously, they're the most important ones, but they've got all the staff to look out for. Imagine if Haaland's passport was out of date and no one knew.
Pep hasn't renewed it.
They probably have their own personal assistants that do that each player, don't they?
They've got plenty of people running about doing that stuff.
That nonsense.
Yeah.
Any more to add on the Champions League final?
No. Shall we move on to the teaser?
We'll revert back to the beginning of the show, the teaser. So, Mario Balotelli infamously both played for Inter and Manchester City, but who did he score more times for? Do you want to start off, Andy, on your punt for 8 Inter Milan goals? And then, Jack, you follow suit?
Yeah. So we're doing a sort of like a nearest the amount. Go on.
Well, I completely had no idea, so I just plucked a number out of thin air. But I think he scored more goals for Inter. So I've put him on 36 goals for Inter. And for Man City, I've put him 34. but that's just a wild stab in the park.
You've set the numbers. Are you going to go way higher, or are you going to go 35?
Go wide,
Are you going to go 35 or 33?
Did he? I have no idea. Did he? I don't really remember him playing at Inter Milan, but also don't remember him scoring more than 30 at Man City. I'm gonna go. I won't. I'm gonna go. He scored 28 at Man City, and he scored. What did you? And he said 36, didn't he? At Inter.
Yeah, did you?
I'm gonna go. He scored 41 at Inter Milan.
Okay, it's very close
For Andy.
No, for the whole set. So he played 3 seasons at Inter, and also played 3 seasons at City.
Oh, he did.
3 seasons. Yeah.
He played 86 times for Inter, scoring 28 goals.
Oh no!
So when you said 28, I was like, so that was 1 point to Andy.
Well, yeah.
And for Man City, he played 80 times, scoring 30 goals.
Oh, so there's 1
close.
point.
4 out for Man
So
City.
you
I said
were
28
pretty
for
good,
City.
yeah.
I didn't think it was 3 seasons though.
Yeah, so he played literally, it was nearly identical goals to game ratio of 86 games for Inter, 28 goals. And then for City, 80 games, 30
It's
goals.
less than 1 and 3. That's not a bad little record, to be fair.
I mean, at City, he scored 6 goals, 13. Oh, this is Premier League, sorry. So he scored 6 goals, 13 and 1. Yeah, I think that summed up his time, didn't he? Had one.
Not the greatest.
He'll still be remembered for that touch to Aguero, though, for the old winning goal with the Premier League.
That was his only ever assist, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And he's the only ever Italian to win the Premier League.
Yes, I did know that somewhere in the back of my brain.
Yeah.
Well, Italian player, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
man.
Because
Italian.
that was always going to be the case when Jorginho came across London. And
it's never. Leave it to Balotelli.
No,
good question. Very good question.
Good.
I think that's.
Covered it all. Just like to say thanks, Andy, again.
Thank you very much, Andy. Been fantastic.
It's been brilliant. Yeah,
no worries. No, thanks for having me. It's been a real pleasure being on here, and I'd love to come on again soon.
Yeah, definitely. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for coming.
I'll either be very, very happy next week.
You want to come on again?
Sorry.
We'll see. We'll wait until West Ham's result, and then we'll
maybe we'll get him on in the new season with his West Ham shirt on, with the Europa League badges on.
Yeah, exactly. I'll definitely
after winning. Surely you must get a star above the.
No.
Do they get a star?
No comment. I don't know. Surely not.
You must do, right?
Surely not.
I don't know. Only one team's ever won it before, haven't they?
Yeah.
Roma. Yeah.
That would have been mad if Roma won the Europa League, because that would have been. He would have done the clean sweep, wouldn't he? Well, he's done the clean sweep, hasn't he?
He's got more tacked on his arm, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's done the clean
He would have
sweep.
been the first manager. If he had won that, he would have been the first manager to win the Europa League with 3 different clubs, I believe.
That's mad.
United, Porto,
Roma.
and Roma. Yeah.
Yep. Well, hopefully, the Viola, as their nickname, the Fiorentina come out on top in the week. But
no, again, thank you very much, Andy, for coming on.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week, and stay loyal.
Stay loyal.
Stay loyal.